Welcome back. It's another Wednesday one shot. You got myself, Curtis, and Jesse with me. Jesse, how you doing, sir?
I am all right. How are you?
Fantabulous. We are here to talk about House of the Dragon. So season 2 just wrapped up, and we'll try to keep the beginning of this as spoiler free as possible if you haven't seen it yet, because obviously we're recommending this. This is, when we do these Wednesday one shots, it's always something that we're recommending to folks. So we're not going to be like uber critical or anything. We're just going to talk about the things that we like. We'll try to keep the beginning as spoiler free as possible, and then we'll probably have to get into some spoilers towards the end. So, but we'll do our best. So, first off, I'll just say, I think I liked season 1 a lot, but I think season 2 was even better. Season 2 was fire. I don't know. What were your thoughts, Jesse?
I had a rough time with season 1. Mm-hmm. I felt like I was getting bogged down by a lot of stuff. So I was kind of hesitant to start season 2, but I liked it so much more than season 1. Now, I don't think season 1 was bad. Maybe I was just in a wrong headspace, but I think season 2 is definitely an overall better season.
Yeah, I mean, season 1, they're covering like I would say probably close to a 20-year span, and really trying to establish the characters and kind of set the stage for where we're at in season 2. And season 2 happens, I would say, over the course of maybe a few months, as opposed to like 20 years. So it's, I don't know, yeah, season 1 had a lot of stuff going on. There's a lot of, I mean, it's from the same universe as Game of Thrones. So there's a lot of strange names, and some of the names are very similar, and just trying to understand who all the characters are. And, there's some of the relationships, I don't know. Yeah. It definitely had to build throughout season 1. And I think season 2 really hit its stride. So, trying to keep it as spoiler free as possible. Basically, there's a fight for the crown. I think we can say that. I think that's fairly well known. They're in a time frame where it's not just army versus army. There's, this has to do with dragons too. And it's, who has the armies, who has the dragons, and kind of going from there. And so it's a lot about, establishing, like relationships with other families and things like that, and trying to negotiate and just a lot of strategy and stuff, along with some just amazing scenes and CGI and stuff like that. So I mean, Jesse, what else? Anything that we can share? I think trying to keep it as spoiler free as we can.
Spoiler free as possible. I'll talk about like the artistry of this episode. There were a couple episodes where they actually gave us time that they took a beat, like something dramatic happened, or a character got the news. Mm-hmm. And I just remember there was one point. I'm not going to say what the news was, but Rhaenyra, one of the leads for the contending for the throne, is given a message, or something is told to her, and you just see her kind of staring there, like looking up at the windows, and the dust motes like falling through the light. And you'd think in a big budget show like this, which costs so much money, to just give us that moment to like linger with her thoughts. And it's like, I don't know about you, but there's been times where I've just kind of like been caught in a daydream or thinking about stuff, and I'm just staring at those particles in the air. So like, it made this character who is so different from me in their circumstance and everything even more relatable. I felt just like, okay, this is something everybody does, and there was a lot of really nice cinematography and like shots. And you are right. The first season did a lot of legwork setting up the whole new take on this world, the new entry into this world. So
I think, the fact that they were covering such a long period of time in the first season meant that you didn't have those moments like you're talking about, where they just kind of were able to slow down and capture you in the moment of what's going on. So the season 2 did a much better job of that because it was slowed down, and it wasn't slowed down to where it was boring. I mean, far from it. This season was definitely not boring, but it did give you a chance to breathe and get to know these characters and get to understand that a lot of times there's different perspectives on things. So one person that thinks that they're the hero of their story and the other person's the villain, you then see it from the other person's side and it's completely the opposite. So it's all about perspectives and understanding these people and kind of what's going on. And I really enjoyed the drama of it. I enjoyed the stuff with the dragons is just fantastic. Yeah, and I mean they do a good job of eliciting emotions in this, because there's some characters that I absolutely want to punch in the face. And then there's some characters that I'm like, I really love this character. So they do a good job of that. The writing is top notch.
Yeah, and even to the point where I don't feel it's as broad an array of characters as Game of Thrones. We're not spending as much time with these like smaller houses and all this, but some of the like tertiary characters or even just secondary characters, are getting moments where, not spoiling it, but there's a really nice confrontation speech between two characters in the final episode that I didn't know I was waiting for. Like, there was definitely tension building up, but it wasn't what I was expecting. And it was a speech, so maybe you didn't like it, making a joke about Winter Soldier and the Falcon. But no, it was just two people alone. There was no news crew. But it just, it just made me really appreciate the time we are spending with kind of the lower characters in their place in the story and what that might mean going forward.
I do want to throw out there for anybody that hasn't seen season 2 yet. I mean, this really isn't a spoiler because I'm not going to get into the plot point, but it does end on a bit of a cliffhanger. So just know that's what you're in for. Because I feel like, I think I read somewhere that the season was initially going to be 10 episodes long, and then they shrunk it down to 8. And so the last 2 are really rolled into season 3. And it does leave you very much wanting more.
Again, without the spoilers, it left me like, seriously, I felt like people seeing Fellowship of the Ring in the theater first time that didn't know the story. So like getting that end and like Sam and Frodo are just like, oh, there it is. We got a ways to go. And then it says to be continued. And I heard like so many people in the audience be like, what?
Yeah.
It wasn't quite like that, but it gave me that kind of a vibe. Just because usually they end with such a punch, their seasons, in the last or second to last episode. Again, not to say it was boring or anything was slow. It just it ends setting stuff up.
Yeah. Let's see. Do we need to throw up the spoilers now? Is this kind of spoiler territory?
I'd say we're probably in spoiler territory.
All
for a
right,
couple
here we
minutes
go.
here.
Spoiler alert. So from here on out, if you're still watching, hopefully you've seen this, because we're gonna probably hit some spoilers now. So
yeah.
I really like everything that happened this season. Well, there's one death that I didn't like because I was really attached to one character that died. But I like the character development. I like, that you're seeing both sides of this thing, and the dragon fights, man. The one dragon fight where there's the 3 dragons and going at it. And I mean, the way that season 1 ended with Vagar, just basically chomping down on that other dragon and the boy, like, I was like, wow, that's probably the coolest thing we're ever going to see with a dragon. But I think they topped it. Like, some of the stuff with the dragons in this season is ridiculous.
Yeah. I agree. I think, I keep forgetting it's House of the Dragon. It's not just about the Targaryens and Daenerys and her 3 dragons. Like, there's a whole bunch of dragons and they're vital to the story. So we might not see them all the time. Like you were saying, it's a war between people, but it's also a war between multiple dragons on different sides.
Yeah.
We didn't really, it was all Daenerys and her dragons in Game of Thrones, and not mocking it, but so knowing that other people have
Yeah, there's
similar
many
levels.
dragons, and now you've
Yeah.
got these what they're calling lowborns,
Yep.
that are also now with some dragons. And that one guy, the guy from the bar, the tavern or whatever, that Ulf or whatever, he's gonna be a problem.
He's
Like that,
definitely going to be a problem.
he's gonna be a problem because that
But
guy, yeah,
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 I really like the other guy.
the one that was building like the catapults and stuff for the kingdom, and then
Yeah,
left.
the one
Yeah,
with the family. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah.
I can't remember his name, but I liked him. And he's not a character that is pure. Like, he makes a couple
Mm,
decisions and does a couple things that are like, he's making desperate choices in the situations, and like, I can't say I
mm.
blame him. But yeah, I like what they're doing. Uh, when we get to the finale, again, we're not going to give all the details, but there was one point in the finale that really confused me, and we'll circle back to that. Just yeah, there's a couple tragic deaths, a couple that hit more home than others, and just the show did not cut back from the brutality that you would know and expect from a Game of Thrones property.
Yeah, I mean, this is like super spoilery, so please don't listen to this if you haven't watched this. This is double spoiler, but the Rhaenys one, that one
Mm,
fucking devastated me. Like
that's
that was the only character in the series that I thought 100% was just a good character, like
yeah,
good to the bone. Everybody else has their character flaws. There's certain something wrong with them, or they've done something that I kind of question. She was the only character I was like, man, she really truly is a good person. And yeah, seeing her go down, and not only go down, but like she chose to turn around and go back in. Like she knew that this was like
yeah.
this. She
She
knew that
made her
this was a fight
choice.
she's not
Yeah,
coming back from.
yeah.
Um, and yeah, that was a tragic one. That was a hard one to recover from. So,
Total badass hero moment.
oh yeah,
You know, it might not feel as such for some people watching it, just because she's on a dragon, and
mm,
she's just kind of sitting there, so like, but it's just as big a moment as, to me, as like Iron Man, turning around with his
yeah.
hand up with the gauntlet, fusing to him, and like, I'm getting goosebumps. But yeah,
Well, and I think it also showed how much, it's not just the dragon. It's not just always the bigger dragon wins. It is
yeah,
there's something to be said for the experience of the rider, and the
totally.
relationship between the rider and their dragon. So yeah,
Hmm.
I thought that was
And
really cool.
she was doing it for all the right reasons, whereas the people she was fighting were not.
Correct.
They were fighting for their cause, but they're two young men,
Hmm.
and they got all those things kicking, and I think you and I can both attest to making stupid decisions as young men, and I can't imagine either one of us having a dragon, and being amped up with power, making good
Here's
decisions.
the other thing that I would say. Let's say I don't care that. Let's say I'm the king, right? And even though I'm the king, if I know my brother is a badass psychopath, I'm probably not going to try to embarrass him. Like that's just something, like, it's like the angry pit bull. You don't just sit there and poke it with a stick. Like, yeah.
Yeah,
So I don't
yeah,
know. Yeah.
yeah. Expecting treatment a certain way because you are king, um, leads to all sorts of bad things.
Yeah.
If you have not also proven you've earned it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've been waiting for what is it, Amond? And is that what's the younger brother's name? It's Aegon, and what's the one with the patch? Uh
Is he Amond, or is Matt Smith Amond? I don't know. That's one of the things in this series. Too many of the names are too close.
Damon is
Damon is Matt Smith.
yeah. I
Yeah,
can't
so it's
remember
Amond.
what's okay. Those two are gonna go at it at some point, and it's gonna
Yeah,
be amazing. Like,
yeah,
whether it's on dragons or just sword fighting, like those two, it's gonna be
yeah.
fun. So Anyway, it's fun. Second season was amazing. I can't wait for season 3. So hopefully if you've watched this far, you've already watched it. But yeah, check it out. Watch it, watch it again if you want. I love it. I'm probably gonna go back and watch season 1 again, just because I think now that I've spent more time with these characters, I think season 1 might hit a little bit different. So
Sure.
but yeah.
Cool.
Anything else, Jesse?
Nope. I'll leave my question about the ending to just a personal conversation instead of put it out here. So
Sounds good. All right. Well, thanks again for tuning into this Wednesday one shot, and we'll see you next time.
yeah.